So Throne Liberty Global has its first fresh start server set to release this week on Wednesday the 18th, and that server is called the HyperBoosting server. Wanted to spend a few minutes here to catch you guys up to speed and fill you guys in with the info in case you guys are looking for something to play. Maybe you've played Throne Liberty in the past, thinking about diving back in. Maybe you've never played it. Maybe you're just in the Ion 2 waiting room because there's not too much happening. Well, actually, I take that back. There's quite a bit that's going to be happening in the MMO scene in the next couple of months, but this one is the first thing to actually drop. Personally, I think fresh start servers and or MMO launches are always really fun, and the fact that Throne Liberty is a game that I've always enjoyed in the past, this is definitely something I plan on diving back into, but not for the reasons you may think. I'm actually not planning on diving back into it to try and dominate in PvP, to lead a guild for the first castle, for the first Legion title again. I'm not doing that. I'm over that. I'm definitely not doing a hardcore PvP thing ever again. I'm actually diving back into this, and I'm excited to dive back into Throne because of the PvE content that they've added. We're gonna be talking a little bit about that, as well as all the other things, because there is new PvP content as well. We're gonna be talking about some of these things in this video. So let's start really quick with the HyperBoosting server. The HyperBoosting server is what the fresh start server is called, and it's exactly what the name would imply. It's an accelerated progression experience all the way to and through the end game, and after about 2 or 3 months or so, you can expect the fresh start server to merge in with the legacy server. Like I said, the HyperBoosting server will have accelerated rates, and the progression experience to the end game or to end game gear is a little bit different. And it's actually, I shouldn't say a little bit different, it seems to be a lot different because they've kind of redesigned and revamped everything. You essentially have this new codex that has a list of missions that you'll complete along with your leveling journey that will take you all the way to the end game. It'll give you a set of gear. It'll just upgrade your character, you know, like you're gonna get upgrade mats, gear, all that stuff through this new system. So that sounds pretty cool. Along with the HyperBoosting server and the fresh start server in this update, we're also going to be getting a new tier of gear, tier 3. For those of you who've never played Throne Liberty has always had gear separated into tiers. So when the game first launched, you had tier 1 gear, and then I think in January they released tier 2 gear, which essentially made tier 1 gear obsolete. Now they're going to have tier 3 gear, and the HyperBoosting server is going to take you all the way to tier 3 gear. So that's pretty much the basic structure of it. I mentioned earlier I was coming back mainly looking forward to doing the PvE content, and the first thing that I'm really looking forward to doing is the raid. Now the raid is not something that is specifically dropping with this patch. It actually dropped the raid update actually already dropped. First 12-player raid was launched June 26th. I want to say the nightmare version of this may have dropped a little bit later, but regardless, this is a newer raid that I've heard a lot of really good things about. I've heard it's really challenging. I don't know how many teams in the West have actually cleared the nightmare version. Apparently it's really hard. You even get like a nice little title, an exclusive title. I shouldn't say exclusive, because anyone can get it if you clear the raid deathless, which is, I should say, prestigious title. So that sounds like, for me, that's pretty good incentive. I would like to clear it, and I've heard really good things about the raid from my community and some of my friends that are that still play this game today. So this is something I'm really looking forward to doing. Along with this, they've essentially revamped their trials, and their trials are essentially Mythic plus dungeons, right? The trials equals Mythic plus dungeon. You can kind of think of it that way. And before, these trial dungeons were pretty cool on paper, right? But they weren't executed super well. They did have a leaderboard, but even the leaderboard didn't have that much prestige to it. And they've essentially just redone this. And I'm really looking forward to this, especially because at the end of this sentence right here, it says to establish the future direction of PvE-focused competitive structures they aim to pursue. So this is something that I've always really hoped trials would become. I love the idea of competitive PvE content. Some of you guys that have followed me through the Throne days know that I even hosted a PvE tournament utilizing the trials. and AGS and NCSoft essentially revamping this whole system and putting a much bigger focus on not only the trials but also the raids kind of makes things exciting for me from a PvE perspective, because like I said, the PvP stuff, as much as I love PvP, I'm kind of over that. I definitely don't want to follow the hardcore schedule ever again. So yeah, the PvE content is definitely something that I'm personally very excited about. Moving on, if PvP is your thing though, you've got the battlegrounds that have been added. This is something I think is awesome. Everyone's been asking for this for a very long time. Obviously the game already has arenas, but they've added a 24v24 game mode. And even though I say I'm going to be focusing on PvE, I'm definitely going to be doing some of these battlegrounds as well. I think battleground content is super cool. So they finally added battlegrounds, and if you are more into the or still into the larger scale guild politics GVG stuff, they did remove the 4 guild alliance system, and now alliances only consist of 2 guilds. I think that was also a fantastic change. Took them way too long to make that change, by the way, and took them way too long to add battlegrounds, but adding both of these pieces of content along with the new trial revamp, along with a brand new leveling or progression early game experience with a fresh start server, I think this is about as good as it gets when it comes to jumping back into Throne or trying Throne for the first time. So there's that. Outside of this, there's a lot of other things that have been added. The 2 notable things that I will mention in this video, however, would be number 1, the housing. Housing is something that they've added. Now, if you've played the game before, you'll know that you always had your own little private home that you could teleport to. There wasn't really any function to it other than just your passive Amatoy expedition that you'd send. Don't worry about it if that doesn't make any sense to you. There really wasn't that much purpose, or really hardly any purpose, to the housing that was currently in the game. But this, now they have like a legitimate housing system where you're building out your house and all that stuff. So that's really cool. I think this is something that's really going to be really exciting for a lot of people, especially the people that are a little bit more casual or less sweaty about PvP. And the last thing is the orb. There's a brand new weapon that's coming out called the orb. This is something that I would personally love to try out myself. I'm sure I will at some point, but I kind of want to go sweaty on PvE with PvE, and if I do that, I kind of want to go Expo Wand. But the orb being a brand new weapon, in the way they've designed it, it just looks really cool. So if this is something that's up your alley, I'd encourage you to look up some YouTube videos and definitely check it out when the update drops. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's I wanted to try and keep this video a little bit shorter, a little bit more condensed. There are a lot of videos out there that are going over every little single thing or every little detail when it comes to the fresh start server and this massive update. But yeah, I do plan on diving into it pretty hard myself. I've reached out to a couple of other streamers, and we're looking to group up and maybe put a static together and try to push some of this PvE content. Hopefully we can make it to the raids, and definitely want to try and push some of the trials as well. So that should be pretty good fun content for us. In case you guys are wondering, is this a game that I can see myself playing for the next year, coming back to? With Ion 2 around the corner, probably not. But until Ion comes out, this could definitely be something that I just continue to dive into and invest a significant amount of time into. I don't know. I really have to see how the game feels, because I've also taken a long break from it, right? I want to see how the trials feel. I want to see how the raid feels. And some of my streamer friends also feel the same way. So we're kind of going into this thing open-minded, without much expectation, but at the same time we're pretty excited about it because it's a fresh start server. You know, it's a fresh start server, and the fresh start server has a lot of updates with it. So if you guys are looking for a community to join yourself, feel free to join our Discord, the 1HP community. We will be running a guild for sure. This time around, we will not be running a super sweaty guild. We will not be doing that super sweaty PvP guild, I should say. Of course, we'll participate in casual PvP, like battlegrounds and stuff like that. But I personally, along with most of the guild, will likely be focusing more on the PvE side of things, raiding and trials and what have you. So yeah, come join our Discord. I'm going to be streaming this game a lot on Twitch, so come follow me on Twitch. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.